Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to take another minute or so here and let some more folks get into the webinar. So we'll be right with you. I hope everyone's having a good week. They go by quickly. We look forward to having these every Wednesday and reconnecting with our families. Still have some more participants joining in, so just take another few seconds here. All right, so it looks like we have a good number to get started. So I'll say hello again. My name is Sandy Cardoza. I'm the Associate Director of Parent and Family Relations here at Johnson & Wales. And we're thrilled to have everyone for another one of our weekly family Zoom sessions, part of the summer orientation program. The topic for tonight is campus safety and security, or basically safety in the city of Providence. So when we're ready to start the question and answer on that, you would basically open the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen and type in any questions that you have there. The chat feature is for you to use if you want to communicate amongst yourselves. My colleague Kara, who is behind the scenes, might also be sharing some written information in the chat, things like websites, phone numbers, email addresses, things like that. So, oh, and Kara said hi there. Hey, Kara. So feel free to communicate with Kara in the chat as well. Gosh, we've done these so many weeks now. I feel like everyone kind of knows the drill by now. You're not able to, we can't see you. You can see us, obviously, but we're going to take your questions for up to an hour if needed. So with that, and oh, and by the way, it's recorded because we do share these recordings on our website. So with that, before we start the Q&A, I just want to allow these two gentlemen who are with me here tonight an opportunity to say hello and tell you a little bit about themselves. And we'll start with Director Rose.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Director Leroy Rose. I'm the Executive Director of Campus Safety and Security here at the Providence campus of Johnson & Wales University. I've been here for almost 10 years now. I came here in January of 2011 upon my retirement from the Rhode Island State Police. After 24 years, I was a captain with the Rhode Island State Police. When I retired in January of 2011, at that point, I was in charge of inspectional services. But prior to that, I was the detective commander, assistant detective commander, and I spent around 15 years in the crime scene unit. And prior to that, I was a road trooper for my first 4 years on the Rhode Island State Police. When I initially came to Johnson & Wales in 2011, I came in as a captain in charge of administrative services. In 2015, I was named Director of Safety and Security here at the Providence campus, and in 2019, I was named Executive Director, and I oversee the safety and security departments at the other 4 campuses, at the other 3 campuses also. I meet with those directors regularly in order to discuss matters relating to safety and security around our campuses. So I'm glad to be here tonight, and I'm sure you'll have questions for safety and security, as there always are. Yeah. And I'll be here as long as need be in order to answer and address all your questions. So thank you, Sandy, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's something you say that every summer, and it's so true. The families always have questions for safety and security. Students, it's hit or miss. Some do, lots of times they don't, but definitely families. And we have one, but before we go to that first question, I want Damien to be able to say hello and tell the folks a little bit about himself.
So hello, everyone. My name is Damien Cook. I am a junior at the Providence campus, and my major is culinary arts and food service management. And these past 2 years have been quite a lot, especially with everything going on. But Johnson & Wales is never a place of endless opportunity. So I just got back from a study abroad trip, and then also my internship. So I've been gone for a while, so it was nice to come back, see the bay, see the chefs, see all the faculty that I work closely with, and then also to engage the new incoming students. So I love it. I'm definitely going to come back again next year, and I'm staying positive through this troubling time. But it's good to be here.
Thank you, Damien. We're thrilled to have you. And he's been on O-Team for 2 years and just a wonderful student leader on our campus. If any of you have students in the College of Culinary Arts who are obviously coming in this fall, they might recognize Damien from being an orientation leader with their O-Team. So with that, please, by all means, ask your questions in the Q&A and we'll get them answered for you. So the first question, Leroy, you know, and I know obviously you're part of the emergency team that's doing a lot of the planning. Hopefully you can answer these types of things. Maybe it's another department, but what's our procedure since Rhode Island is now an at-risk state?
Okay, yes, Rhode Island was added to the list of surge states last week. And then just yesterday, I believe it was, that Connecticut, Massachusetts, and another state dropped Rhode Island from their list of at-risk states. But for students coming in, for parents dropping off students onto campus, that's called, I don't want to say transitional or wow, I'm missing the word, but it's transient traffic, for lack of a better phrase, where you can come drop off your student on campus and then leave and go back to your state that you come from without any 14-day quarantine requirements. The governor had her weekly press briefing today, and she is very, very steadfast on the hand washing, the best practices, the physical distancing, the gatherings, especially with the campus, the college students and college communities, with the students still coming back for the fall. She really wants everyone to be vigilant regarding gatherings. But we have our procedures and protocols in place. We're going to be doing we have an app. I'm not sure if you talked about that in prior orientation sessions. There's the JWOOL mobile app, and on that JWOOL mobile app, you have to do your screening. Staff and faculty have to do the check, have to get a green check mark every day before they come to campus, and students have to get a green check mark every day before they come to campus. If they get a red X, they have to check in with health services prior to going to class or prior to coming to campus. We had students here since July 5th. They started coming in, and there's been some red X's, and the nurse's office, the health services department is vigilant. We're checking in on those students, and if they have to get sent into quarantine, get COVID testing, go into isolation, we're taking whatever the steps that have to be taken, we're certainly taking them. And if there was a positive result, we work with the Department of Health, Rhode Island Department of Health. They drive that ship. And then once it comes on, they'll reach out to who we have to reach out to on campus regarding contract tracing, quarantining, and additional testing, et cetera. So I hope I've appropriately answered your question, but if not, please let me know and I can try to expound more. And
Yeah, no,
just add
thank
one
you.
more thing. We have a full-time emergency management director, thankfully. He's been here since 2011. He's a certified emergency manager. So since January, when this pandemic started being through our windshield and we started seeing it coming our way, he's been working more hours than I could count. So I assure you, every day he is on from Skype call to Zoom call to meeting regarding what the state, what the CDC, what the health department, and what other federal officials and other colleges and universities are doing in order to best handle this pandemic and bringing students back to campus. Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, we had a lot of questions last week. Kathy Rondo was here last week. A lot of questions about quarantine and coronavirus. I know the town hall with President Bernardo Souza last night touched on a lot of those types of things. So hopefully folks are getting their questions answered through those types of information sessions, the Wildcat Welcome site as well. And I see your question here, Annie, asking about commuters working remotely this fall. Based on what I heard in yesterday's meeting, I believe that was confirmed that students are able to leave campus to work. But again, that's not your area, correct, Leroy?
Yeah, commuter students came up last night too. Commuter students
Right.
can certainly come to campus if they need to come to campus. If they're working remotely, they can certainly come to campus to utilize computer labs, libraries, and locations like that. And we also have students that are going to be living on campus. Yes, they can leave campus to go get a job in the city or go enjoy the city. I hope that they do it responsibly and what have you. But students are certainly encouraged to go explore the city of Providence. on the other side of the equation, I might as well tackle it now while we're talking about commuters and students. Students that live on campus, due to the pandemic, the visitor restrictions are going to be very strict. You cannot bring outside visitors to campus to any res hall or anything like that. And even if you live in a building during the pandemic, you cannot bring students from another residence hall to your building. And it's all in the interest of keeping a safe campus community. And I say not safe in a means of crime safe. I say safe in the pandemic meaning of the word safe from getting sick.
Sure. And can you speak to maybe the role that your officers have, or maybe how their role has changed a little bit in light of what's going on with coronavirus and the different policies, if you will, on campus?
Certainly, we want our officers to be part of the campus community, but we will, when we see it, we encourage students to social distance, to physical distance, to wear their face coverings, and to keep spread apart, and not to have, gatherings where they're not social distance. And we are trying to do that very similar to our tobacco policy, where a tobacco-free campus with that nudging to nudge the behavior in the appropriate direction that we'd like to see that behavior, rather than going to we have a new COVID-19 code of conduct, where things ultimately could end up at the Office of Community Standards if students continuously violated the COVID protocols, physical distancing, not wearing face coverings, refusing to wear face coverings, having gatherings and things of that nature. So we are trying to do our best, and that's me. I was coached as a young student a lot of years ago now, and I'm a full 100% supporter of coaching students along on their journey through college.
Excellent. Damien, you've been on campus this summer, right, for culinary labs?
Yes, I have.
Maybe you could speak a little bit to what the vibe's been like, and what you see in terms of students kind of dealing with the restrictions and whatnot.
So speaking for me personally, it hasn't really been that hard because Rhode Island has similar restrictions as my home state. Just so everyone knows, I'm from Delaware, so we kind of have the same restriction as Rhode Island. So I'm used to wearing the mask in public places. Social distancing was like never a problem. And not only the officers here on campus, but also the faculty are really good about making sure students stay 6 feet apart, just because we made a deal with the health department saying that we have to follow certain rules. So that's the only reason why we were allowed to come back in the summer in the first place. So everyone's been doing that just because we all have to continue to stay and to finish our lab. So we've been following directions. There hasn't really been that much trouble. Sometimes we had to eat outside just because we're not allowed to eat in certain rooms in the Hack building, for example. So in those times, we are allowed to take off our masks, but we still have to be 6 feet apart.
Sure. Well, it beats the alternative. At least you were able to be on campus, right?
Yes. I miss this place too much. I wanted to come back.
All right. Well, folks, we are here with Director Leroy Rose from Campus Safety and Security. Please ask any questions you have in the Q&A specific to safety on campus in the city of Providence, not just related to COVID. Leroy, maybe you could share with folks sort of the general message you share every summer just about being safe on campus and in the city. Put COVID aside, pretend these students are still coming to Providence for college.
Yes, Providence is a city where all of our campuses, Providence, Denver, North Miami, and Charlotte, are all in pretty much urban areas. So we're an urban community. I'm sitting at my office right now at 264 Way Bassett Street. We encourage students to, yes, explore and see the city of Providence, but please do it responsibly. Do it in groups. And, don't wander out all hours of the day and night to different areas of Providence, especially if you don't know the area. Downtown area, Providence here, and Damien's on the meeting here this morning. Pretty good. It's okay. Just be careful, be safe, make good choices, make good decisions. Walk in groups. 1, 2 in the morning. Nobody should be out there, by themselves walking through a city anywhere, in any city. Truly. I want students, if there's ever an issue, even on or off campus, and they have nowhere to turn to ask a questions, we are here 24/7, 365, right in the next door office over is our dispatch center. So students can call our security office at, 401-598-1103. And I'm sure as they come to campus, and I'm sure throughout the orientation process, they've been giving our number to contact safety and security. So students are encouraged to contact safety and security, and we will try to, we are committed to assisting you or pointing you in the right direction in order to keep you safe, and to enjoy the city. We have people that come from small towns or people that come from big cities. But whether you're coming from the biggest of cities or the smallest of town, you still have to be careful in order to be safe, in order to enjoy the community.
Sure. Andrew, I see your question here about how students will be oriented to the city and tips or suggestions from security. One thing I want to mention real quickly, the online orientation module that students are completing, and I should have mentioned this right from the get-go, but has extensive information related to your area, campus safety and security, and some of those tips, if you will, about being smart and being safe in the city. And parents and families have access to the same information on the family online module. So if you haven't looked through that yet, make sure you do take a look at that. But you kind of already just talked a little bit, Leroy, about things like, walking with a friend or not going out alone, and things that seem like they make sense pretty much anywhere.
Walk in groups. Don't go out alone. Walk in groups. Stay together. We'll take the well-lit road. I love it when students walk down Bossett Street in front of our office versus walking back to campus through some of the less traveled streets. Stay on the well-lit, well-traveled streets. You have local people that come around. We have panhandlers that come around. It's a challenge with the city of Providence as far as what's aggressive panhandling and what's not aggressive panhandling. Aggressive panhandling is not allowed, and they can get in trouble, but when somebody comes up to you, ask for money, you have to just be careful. So avoid that conflict and don't get involved in handing money to these panhandlers and things like that. Or if you see something strange, try to go in the other direction. Pick up the phone, call safety and security. We have safe walk services.
Right.
If you were going to walk from Yenna Center back to Xavier or Imperial at night, and for some reason you're at the library and your friends have left and you don't want to walk back by yourself, call the number, call safety and security. We'll send somebody to walk you back or to give you a ride back from the Yenna Center up to Xavier, up to Imperial, in order to get back to your res hall safely. So we're available for safe walk.
And you share this in lots of times in person in the summer, and I laugh, and it's really, I'm sure it's not funny to the person who was the victim of it, but when you talk about students leaving their laptops right on the front seat of their car or something, like, you just have to be smart with that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an urban area. It's an urban area, whether it's here or Harborside, anywhere in the city, or whether it's some of the other colleges. We have a lot of colleges in the city of Providence. Don't leave that backpack, laptop, or that package on the seat of your car. It could be nothing, or it could be something expensive, but windows do get broken, or if the car's unlocked, doors get open and things do get taken and stolen. So that's off campus and on campus. When you go to the dining facility, you go to a res hall, you just do not leave that laptop, that pair of AirPods, or don't leave something unattended, because if you give somebody an opportunity to take something, somebody may take that opportunity in order to take something from you. So please take care of your valuables, preserve your, and I can't say that enough. If you leave an expensive phone or a pair of Beats or something out, a laptop, it can or will get stolen in your building, in your res hall. Lock your doors. A lot of the rooms now are going to be singles because of the pandemic, but when you're not in your room, lock your doors. Do not leave that door unlocked. We can't stress that enough, to lock your door, because somebody may know one of you don't have many roommates this semester, ironically, but may know somebody else in your floor or not like that, but then they don't know you and something is left out and it gets stolen. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Sandy. Take care of yourself in the city, be careful, and always protect your valuables, because we do get reports of things getting stolen,
Right.
like any other college campus. If you provide the opportunity for theft, things can and will get stolen. So thanks for asking that, because it's a fact of life.
Damien, anything you feel you could add from a student's perspective, or maybe speak to how you have felt on campus? I know you spend a lot of time on the Harborside campus. Have you felt safe, and what has helped you feel safe?
Just because I've actually had experience living on both Down City and Harborside,
Okay.
and both been pretty safe. I feel like Down City is the safest. Well, before I used to say Down City was the safest, but with the addition of the new police station on Harborside as well, I feel like both campuses are pretty safe. I mean, like Leroy said, we had Safe Walk. We encourage all of our orientees to put the safety and security number in their phone. So if anything happens, everyone has that phone number and they can give them a call really just like that. So I've never had the need to call them for anything because just nothing really happens. But just in event something does happen, we all have the phone number.
Yeah, and they're pretty visible. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm seeing them all day,
Yeah,
around
whether
campus.
it's in the car or if they're walking,
Yeah,
they're everywhere constantly. So it's pretty
What we're
safe.
doing for the fall, last year, we didn't have enough staffing to staff the Harborside Boulevard booth 24 hours a day. Really, we are trying to work our schedule with the way the student population is going to be. We're really trying to staff that booth on the Harborside campus 24 hours a day. We did that for July and August. And going forward in September and October, we're going to try to staff that booth 24 hours a day, which is an added layer of security on that campus as people come down Harborside Boulevard, that they're going to get stopped and checked at the booth. And they can only come to the Harborside campus if they're a student living there or an active student or a commuter student going to utilize the services or to go to Save the Bay during the daytime. But other than that, the campus is closed, especially during the pandemic, because you can't have that non-student visitor come to campus at this time.
sure. Okay. So getting back to some of the questions here, someone's mentioning how on our Facebook group, there's been some conversation today in particular about families saying that their students who are there for summer right now are going home in between the break between summer labs and classes starting. And this person references that it seems unsafe and wonders what the university's stance is on that. Can you comment on that at all?
I can't comment on that particular question today because that end of the semester is just coming tomorrow or Friday. The end of the semester is Friday. But if they're going to a surge date, it would certainly be concerning if they're going back to a surge date. If they're going to a surge date, I would really encourage them to work with Residential Life to see if they could stay on campus and to try to resolve that with Residential Life. If it was a Massachusetts, Connecticut non-surge state, there's nothing wrong with going home. So if you're on that list of 34, 35, 36 states, which has that over 5% positivity rates, it's certainly an issue that I would 1,000% raise with Res Life. But if it's a state that doesn't have that 5% positivity rate, and that's come up. Can students go home on weekends? We encourage students to stay on campus due to the pandemic, but generally speaking, they'll be able to go home on weekends if they choose to, but be really vigilant if they're going back to a surge date.
Right. My understanding also is that, and maybe Damien, you received a communication as a current student on campus. I understand that Res Life is messaging all students who are here right now saying, hey, really cautioning them about leaving campus and think about where you're going and about the fact that this situation could change. Like your state could be fine today, but who knows 2 days from now. And you don't want to end up in a situation where you have to come back and deal with the whole 14-day quarantine thing. So students are definitely being reminded of the importance of the situation and the need to really put a lot of thought into situations or their actions, and hopefully the majority of them will choose to stay. And related to that, will students be able to raise awareness of concerning or non-compliant code policies? So I think what that means is if a student is aware of another student who's sort of breaking the rules, if you will, what would happen in those types of situations?
Well, there's different levels. You can work on trying to resolve it through the faculty or staff in that room or in that building. You can work to resolve it with Res Life. And with this COVID-19 protocol, there's going to be a form that's available for students, staff, or faculty to fill out this form for people that violate COVID, physical distancing, mask, face coverings, gathering type of issues, and you'll be able to submit those forms. You can put your name on those forms, or you can submit those forms anonymously too. And those forms are going to be made available through community standards and conduct if it hasn't already been made available in public.
Okay. Tracy's asking if you can define what campus means and giving the example, if families want to come and meet their student, understanding that families can't go into the residence halls, but just have the student walk them around campus, whether it's down city on Gaby Commons or Harborside, if they wanted to walk around the Wildcat statue and all, would that be okay? Can families walk on campus?
I know for move-in, we're allowing a couple of family members to come with the students for move-in. But then if it was a normal weekend and you wanted to go visit your student to go to dinner or something like that, I think that's what the question's going at. We would ask that you not visit for too long, that you're not coming and visit. Maybe the student could come out and you could, on Harborside, you could give them a ride and go to a local restaurant or go to a local attraction. In Down City, Providence, it's pretty easy. The student could walk out of Snowden or McNulty Hall or Xavier Hall and meet you in a lot of nice restaurants downtown that you could go and enjoy together. But we are trying to keep the campus free from visitors to as much as possible for the fall semester. And I get it. I have one that just graduated from college in May. Well, virtually, I guess. We haven't even had a graduation yet. And my other one's a senior in high school. And so I get wanting to make that field trip to check with the student to see how they're doing. But there's FaceTime, there's Skype, there's Zoom. There's a lot of ways to touch base with your student. But I do hear the question about it. And if it came downtown Providence and if the student even took the shuttle from Harborside downtown, or you met them out at Harborside and went out to enjoy Providence or Newport or Narragansett, Rhode Island is a beautiful place to see. We would just, want you to be careful and do it with precaution, especially if you're coming from a surge state. If you're coming from a surge state, once you drop off your student and you're coming from that surge state, you should probably stay at your surge state until the curve gets flattened even more, per se.
And I think one thing that complicates it for this year's incoming class, I'm sure a lot of these folks didn't even get to tour, everything shut down. So, parents, families are eager to kind of see what it's all about. So, all right. Denise, is Providence Place Mall within walking distance, or is there a bus? Student needs access to CVS, and yes, that is the closest one. Damon, you want to take that?
Yeah, so depending on where your child is staying at, so if they're on the Down City campus, then it's like a 5-minute walk. And if they're on the Harborside campus, you would have to take the school bus, for example, to Down City and then walk from Down City. So yes, it's very close.
And if you're walking to the mall during the day, it's generally speaking fine during the day. But you're walking to and from the mall late at night, you have to be careful, especially if you're by yourself. Do it in groups. These, in addition to what Damien said, we have a residence hall over there, the Cove, Capitol Cove. A lot of times students will take the shuttle to Capitol Cove, which is even closer than Gaby Commons to the mall. So students will shuttle to the Cove and then walk over to Providence Place Mall from the Cove. But it is certainly within walking distance, and there's a couple of sky bridges over a couple of the roads in order to get you over to the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Andrew's asking, do we have a campus security app for students walking home? And he gave an example of Rave Guardian. I'm not familiar with those. Maybe you are, Leroy.
Okay, we do not have we utilize Blackboard Connect for emergency notifications, messages that we send out to students via phone call or text. But and we also do emails for our timing warnings and community notices. But with that said, we are working on an Alertus app, not Rave Guardian, but we're working on Alertus app, and we're hoping to have it ready to roll by now. But the pandemic caused that project to get put aside because we had to get online classes going and Zoom going and a lot of other demands on IT in order to get the mobile app going. But there was just I just saw an email or I'm come across my desk the other day that my emergency management director is working on the mobile app. So we are hoping to have a mobile app that will serve as like a blue light phone in your hand for students in the coming weeks or months.
Do you want to talk about the blue lights a little bit? I know that's always something you touch on.
Sure. On Harborside campus and on the Down City campus, there are blue light phones everywhere. There are several of them. And also Down City Providence, because of Brown University and Rhode Island School of Design having places downtown, they have blue light phones outside their locations as well. So in an emergency, you press one of those blue light phones. If it's one of ours, we're going to answer it, safety and security. Can I help you? And we're going to try to help you and point you in the right direction. And if your phone's dead, or you don't have your cell phone, and there's a Brown University blue light phone or a Rhode Island School of Design blue light phone, and you press the button, they're going to answer it and they're going to assist you. So they're here, we inspect them, we test them, and it's important. Nowadays in the cell phone generation, they don't get used as much as they used to in the past, but they are here, they're out there. And if you see one and you don't, like I said, the big thing is your phone is dead or you forget your phone, you press the blue light phone, we are going to answer it and we are going to talk to you on the phone and turn the camera to that area to see what's going on and try to assist you any way we can.
Okay. John is asking if safe boxes and computer locks are advised for securing valuables in the dorm rooms.
Absolutely. And Damien, I see you nodding your head, Damien, so you're a student, you can talk about that too. But absolutely, if you have a safe box or absolutely, whatever you can do to protect and prevent theft, I would do that. And it's, we're a segment of society, so things do happen. So the safe box is highly recommended. Especially if you have, if you have valuable stuff. And Damien, I'll defer to you. Do you lock your things, or do you have friends that lock your things, or how does it go?
Yep. So it's also on the website. There's a list of things for first year students to bring to campus, and the lockbox is one of them. And in parentheses, it says for valuables. So I know just in case, like for a room inspection or anything like that, they're not allowed to like try to unlock it or whatever, just because, or just any guest or anyone coming into your room can't get into that box. So definitely, if you're scared about laptops, I know myself, it's like my phone costs more than my laptop now, which is really funny, but I have a box where I put my laptop in and where I put my knife kit in.
Oh, the knife kit. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Knife kits get stolen too.
Yep.
So these are culinary students. Culinary students are allowed to have knives in their res hall, but the traditional student, you should not have knife. But culinary students can have knife kits in their residential halls. And lock boxes, we will not open a lock box unless we are there for another reason. If we think there might be some contraband or prohibited items in the lockbox, we 1,000% reserve that right to open the lockbox. And if we can't open it, we'll take it, we'll collect it, and seize it until it can be opened or removed from the campus. But generally speaking, we won't go in a lockbox if you're just there for normal things. But if you think something's awry, it can be inspected.
Leroy, I got a message from Kara. Someone is asking, how much theft is there on campus from the locked dorm rooms? I mean, are our numbers on par or comparable to national averages, or?
I would say we're on par with other colleges and universities. And a locked dorm room that's broken into, that would be a burglary, generally speaking. So our res halls and all those stats are on our website in our annual security and fire safety report. For a burglary of a res hall, if somebody breaks into a locked room, sometimes it's more challenging if there's an unlocked room and I had friends over and things might have got stolen and it's a larceny, where those larcenies are not reported on our federal stats that are on our website. But we do have, larcenies and thefts that do get reported on in campus res halls or in campus computer labs or in campus dining facilities where somebody leaves something out, where certainly things can and will get stolen. But the burglary of kicking a door open or prying a door open, we don't get very many of those. In our annual security and fire safety report, which would have all of our stats, we're due to publish our 19 stats by October 1, but it just got extended to December 31 due to the pandemic. But our 2018, 17, and 16 stats are right on our safety and security webpage. And then you can go onto our safety and security webpage and go into our annual security and fire safety report and look at all of our crime stats, for the major crimes that we have to report under the Jean Clary Act.
Okay, two more things related to the lockbox. One person is asking, where do you go to purchase something like that? And then Tracy's asking, they can just be picked up and walked out of the room. Like, I don't know, Damien, if you've ever had one, do you attach it to something in your room, or how does that work?
So, sorry about that. So usually, I just stuff it in the closet, or if your bed is high enough, you can stuff it underneath the bed and then like put a blanket over it. And then I also have totes. So if I needed to, I could put the lockbox in the tote and just close the tote and cover it up like that. So usually people don't really go through your stuff. It's kind of just locking your door is always the number one thing to do. And then your second line of defense is either stashing it in the closet or underneath the bed and covering up like that. But I never had issues when my stuff was stolen, but that's just something I have put in place.
And people do utilize almost like a chain or the wire cords with the lock and try to lock it to a nightstand or put it through a computer desk or something like that so things can't walk out the door. But it's people, things, do get stolen on occasion. So protect your valuables, just like at home, just like anywhere else. You're going to protect your valuables to prevent that.
Sure. And that we actually did that with one of our sons, what you're describing, sort of like a bike lock type situation. And I remember we kind of put it over, I think, the woodwork of the bed, just so it wouldn't be easy. It's, you don't want to like leave things just sitting out on your desk or something. So, but anyway, all right. Here's.
Especially now, most of these rooms are going to be singles.
Right.
Even if you got that was a quad, those individual rooms you're going to be able to lock. So you should be locking. You're not home, lock your room.
Right.
Definitely lock your room and lock your main door to this. If it's a suite, we highly encourage locking the main door to the suite as well.
Okay. We get this question every year. Can my Wildcat bring pepper spray?
You're right, Sandy. We get this question every year. And pepper spray is not illegal in the state of Rhode Island. So a student can carry pepper spray, and if they have it in their residential hall, they will not get in trouble for having it in their residential hall as long as they don't use it inappropriately. If they use it appropriately and they had it with them and for protection as they're walking through the city of Providence or Cranston, that is not illegal in the state of Rhode Island to possess pepper spray. So I'm glad it was asked, Sandy. We have to put that in just put it in our slides.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you've referenced multiple times not walking alone, common practice, I think, in lots of locations. And a question again about, does safety and security have a system where students can call for a pickup or escort if they find themselves in a situation where they might be alone?
Yes, and that's on the Down City campus and on the Harborside campus. The transportation services runs like every 20 or every 30 minutes until midnight. But if you're Down City or on Harborside and you want to get to the other side of that campus, feel free. But don't, I must say though, if you're downtown and you're at a res hall downtown, but you live at Harborside, you're safe. You're at a res hall downtown, it's not yours. But, but when the buses stop running after midnight, I think it's midnight or 12:30, they're going to stop running. So you just, you got to have a plan. Do you have an Uber account? Do you have a Lyft account? Because if you're here, you're on campus, you're in a safe place. So it's not, safety and security does not do that 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning shuttle because somebody stayed at their friend's res hall Down City or at Harborside too long. And you can't visit right now anyway. So
right. I was just going to say that.
You can't visit right now at the other halls anyway. But if you're downtown Providence in the city, and the last shuttle bus comes from Gaby back to Harborside, I think it may be around midnight, and they just published the schedule last week for the fall. So, or they published the interim schedule for now. I don't know if the fall schedule is even published yet, but just know when that last shuttle bus is running to get you back to Harborside and have a plan with your friends and how you're going to get back to Harborside. Or if you're Down City, vice versa, how you're going to get to Harborside and how you're going to get to Down City. Have that plan, have that discussion, and have that plan. You're going to go to an off-campus event that we don't encourage, but you see, Damien, you're nodding your head. At night, we see the Lyft and Uber drivers all night long coming back to Gaby Commons or going to Harborside Boulevard when students choose to, and I get it, it's college and they choose to venture off campus, but we ask those students when they choose to venture off campus to have a plan. But on the campus, the core campus of Harborside, the core campus of Down City, and you call for an escort, a ride, or to assist you getting back to your building, we are committed to assist you in getting you back to your hall if you don't feel safe.
And Pamela is asking in the chat just about walking on the Harborside campus in general. Is it safe?
Generally speaking, yes, we want to keep a
Right.
safe campus community, both Harborside
Sure.
and Dell City, especially Harborside. You know, we have the booth on the Harborside Boulevard. We have a gate on the Shipyard Street side. On the other side of the campus, you can walk right onto campus through what we call G-Lot on that side of campus. People can walk onto campus, and we have an easement through that campus from dawn to dusk with people accessing the shoreline. So, but generally speaking, I like to say, yes, we have a safe campus community, but always be aware of your surroundings. Always be aware of your surroundings. If you don't feel safe, call security and let us know. And if you want to get from, I don't know, Harborside Village, where Damien lives, to the Wildcat Center or vice versa, at night you'd be coming from Wildcat Center back to the village and you didn't feel safe. And if you called security, certainly, and if your friends aren't there with you to walk with you in a group, call us.
And I know you have obviously a close relationship with the Providence PD. You talk about that usually. We see them in the city certainly, and I think Damien mentioned one of the substations. I don't know if you want to quickly mention those, Leroy.
Absolutely, I'll be glad to. And if I look out my window right now, okay, I can see 2 Providence police cars outside the substation. They have a Providence police substation right next door, and we are the primary responders on campus on Harborside. Let's face it, 99.99% of the time, thankfully, is violations of the student code of conduct and things like that. And we're the primary responders down city and Harborside, but on the down city campus here, right on Weybosset Street, and on Michigan Avenue side of the Harborside campus, the Providence Police has a substation that they have access to 24/7, 365. The one downtown is used frequently. It's a prime location. And one on Harborside, since it opened last August or September, we can check the swipe history of how often they go into the building, and they go into that building several times a day or several times a week in order to do reports and to be around our campus. So that's a good thing, because if there was ever an event of a major incident on the campus, they would be able to respond quickly, because we are the non-sworn unarmed entity. We're non-sworn unarmed. I'm a retired police officer now, entity on campus. And if we ever needed support to respond to an incident on campus, and we are urban, and that's the call that we would make in order for them to respond. We meet regularly with the precinct commanders from District 1, District 7, and another section of the neighborhood, the District 3 commander, where a lot of students frequent that area. We meet regularly, and parents and families. My favorite thing that I get to tell them, and I've said this before, Sandy, is no. When I get the call and they'll say, Leroy Rose or Leroy, does this student belong to you? I love it when I get to say, no, it's not a Johnson & Wales student. Because if that student belongs to another college, and we have several colleges in the city, when we have our next security directors meeting, I have the bragging rights that issue wasn't Johnson & Wales student. So please help me, make me proud that no, that wasn't a JWU student. We ran it through our system. We ran the name through our system, and they belong to, I don't want to name any other institutions, but they belong to some of the other institutions in the city. Just today there was an article in the Journal about a gathering at an off-campus location, and thankfully, the gathering was students from another college, which is a good day for Johnson & Wales when the students from another college having the gathering.
Yeah. What happens when students get locked out of their room? Who lets them back in? Is it one of your officers?
If a student gets locked, if a student gets locked out of their room, the first or second time they get let in by Res Life. After a couple of times, it can't become a thing where you get charged, and that's a question specific for Res Life. But generally, Res Life has keys to all the halls at the desk where they can get you into the room. Other than that, yes, safety and security, we have keys to everything in lock boxes that we keep for both campuses, Harborside and Down City, and we could get you into the room as well. But that first level of getting you access into the room is via Residential Life. And with that said, if you lose your keys, please let us know. Don't start leaving the room unlocked. And I get it, sometimes there's other people in the suite that have to get keys, and it gets expensive when you lose your key and you have to get a new one because there is a fee for that to get it replaced, especially if the locksmith has to come out and rekey the room and what have you. So, 'cause if you lose a key, we like to, as a matter of security, we don't know where that key ended up. We like to rekey the room as an abundance of caution for safety measure. So there is a fee if you lose your key to get it replaced. But if you just forget your key in the room or it's in my friend's car and I can assure you we have it, a residential life or safety and security will get you back into your residence.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Damien, did you ever have any issues with getting back into your room or?
So I'm very clumsy, and the first day I actually got here, I lost my keys. So and when I lost my keys, the people in the village were closed. So I just had to call safety and security, and they let me in like that. And then, Lord behold, as soon as we opened the door, the keys are right there on the table.
There was.
You know, we just laughed about it. So yeah, it's definitely, it happens, you know.
Do you offer any self-defense classes or resources, Leroy? Safety and security?
Yes, they have, upon request, you know, we'll do classes like res hall safety, street smarts, but they have they call it SAFE. We have a SAFE class that we can run upon request if we get enough students, and it's like a safety awareness class, and it's that we put on by Officer Irene Knight Adams in our crime prevention unit, and she can run that SAFE class, and there's information about it on our webpage of what the SAFE class is in order to, it's not a self-defense, you know, karate class, but it's a class about how to keep yourself safe.
Okay. Question from Naomi, is it better to call your safety and security number 598-1103 or 911 if there's an emergency on campus?
Good question. Great question. We like you to call 911 and safety and security. If it's something that's really imminent and a major emergency, absolutely call 911. But and we say that on our emergency procedure quick reference guides. We have emergency procedure quick reference guides in all the academic buildings and all the residential halls. We want people to, you know, call 911, but we also like you to call safety and security. If it's something that's not imminent, a lot of times you call safety and security, we'll start sending an officer, and then if we need law enforcement to come or a rescue to come, we'll call for you. But if you need somebody needs a rescue right away or something's going on right away, absolutely call 911. And then if you can follow up with a call to safety and security, great. If not, when 911 dispatch gets that call, 99 out of 100 times when they're sending somebody on our way, they call us. As a matter of fact, one of the 911 dispatchers, I know when they're coming here, a lot of times he gets that call, he sends me a text that they're coming here.
And that led to a couple of other related questions. And one person is acknowledging the sad reality that there have been critical incidents on other, schools and campuses across the country. So just asking about JWU's campus lockdown protocols. And also, someone else, Naomi, asked, how do students know when there's an urgent situation? A little bit about the communication process with that.
Good. And that's a good question, and that does come up generally at the traditional orientations in years past. But we have, and I'm thankful, we have a full-time emergency management director that I mentioned earlier. And if we have an ongoing imminent threat, we'll send out an ENS message that'll go out via text, phone call to the numbers that the student enrolls in the system via JWorld link. And we'll also link that to our JWorld Alert Twitter account. Once we get our mobile app, that'll be on the mobile app too, but it'll be on our JWorld Alert PVD Twitter, and that'll go to via text message and or phone call to their numbers on their system. If that was an imminent threat to safety on or nearby the campus community. So that's important. The other things, the timely warnings, if there's we say reportable crime in a reportable area, but there's an ongoing threat, but it's not an imminent threat. Those kind of timely warnings or crime alerts, we send out through email, and that'll get sent out to Providence student announcements, Providence staff announcements, which pretty much is everybody that has an email address from the Providence campus community, and that'll get sent to their email. We post it on our webpage, and there are certain places around campus where we post that information. But if a timely warning, generally speaking, that equals email to the student's email account, and we'll post it on our webpage, et cetera. The imminent threat to safety is that emergency notification that goes out via Blackboard and we'll send that out. And I have access. Director Howard in emergency management has access, and people from the media office have access in order to send out a notice. And my wallet is right over there on my counter, and right on my desk is my my username and password to get in. And I have an app on my phone that I could go into Blackboard in order to send out an ENS if I had to. And the emergency management director has the same app on his phone that he can send it in, or we can also send it out from our desktop computer. And if you don't have a smartphone or a desktop computer, you can call in a number. I have a number I can call in, and they can put the message out for me.
Okay. And someone also asked if families, if their proxy permissions gets them alerted. And that's not necessarily true for those imminent situations where we get phone calls, text messages, emails. I mean, you're dealing with the on-campus community first and foremost.
Right, and that's the, you have your emergency contact for things that happen. If you get injured in an accident or something happened, we had to call the emergency contact. That's an emergency contact. But then you also have an emergency contact number that the student enrolls in JWOL Link, and that number or numbers that they put in there, that's who receives the emergency notification. So the best place for a parent or a family member to get that message would be via the Alert PVD Twitter account. And sometimes you want those messages, sometimes you don't. We've had parents from three time zones away or 5 hours away, and we're sending out a test or something like that, and why am I getting this message?
Yeah.
But
They don't care if it's snowing in Providence.
yeah, and we generally a snowstorm cancellation, we don't put out via ENS, we put that out via email. But if there was something sudden, like a water main break or something, a power failure or something like that, there are times for things like that where we've utilized the ENS system to get that information out.
Okay. Damien, from a student's perspective, I'm curious, do you pay attention to the announcements and things like that? Like, do you, from in your viewpoint, do you feel it's effective?
Yeah, especially when it's like happening in front of your face. So literally just recently there was a power outage because of the storm that went by. So like we were in the middle of cooking and then boom, the power shuts off. And we're like, oh, okay, well, have to follow emergency protocol. So we all have to leave the building, single file, all that jazz. And then we get the alert like 2 minutes later of what happened. And then that's how we're like allowed to leave, stuff like that. And we also do like lockdown drills. I know I haven't done one in a while because I haven't been on campus, but I remember my freshman year of us doing one. So it's like very similar to high school.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Damien. And when the power failure last week, we didn't send out an ENS message to everybody, but we did put that out on the Alert PVD Twitter, and the dining staff on culinary. When we only have the limited number of students, the dining staff on culinary was addressing the matter. And you're all hoping to get the power back quickly so you can resume your lab. But on one of them, we had two this summer, Damien, and once we got the power back quickly, and then once it took 3 or 4 hours to get the power back. And we do get priority service from National Grid because we're, you get hospitals and you get your higher education facilities where we're one customer that's out, but we're a customer that has several thousand students. So we try to work with the government relations people of National Grid in order to, when there's an issue, in order to get things restored.
Okay. So we're kind of getting close to the end here. There's a couple of questions related to, how will students be able to find their way, like tours around campus or even Providence? I mean, Damien, maybe you could speak to what advice would you have for families to share with their students about how to kind of navigate their way around campus in the beginning?
So actually on the Johnson Wales website, there is a link to the virtual tour. I could definitely put it into the chat, but that's what we've been giving all our orientees who haven't had a chance to view campus. And we also give them the campus map that's located in JWOL Link. So they also have that bird's eye view on both Down City and Harborside. So that's what we've been giving to students. I haven't really, since we can't give in-person tours, if someone like really wants a tour, then like I know personally, I've done FaceTime calls, I've done Instagram live stories. So that's just stuff we have to do just because this is the new normal. And this is how orientation has kind of been coping with everything. So we definitely have students covered that way.
I mean, I don't want to speak for you or all the orientation leaders, but I would say if your students, to the families, if your students see their OL and hey, they're not quite sure where to go, just ask, right? We all want to help. We want to help students. So, yeah, for sure. And Leroy,
Sandy, a lot of times during the beginning of the semester, we have extra people out from all different departments in order that are out there. And we know that there are students that have seen the campus for their first time. And even I'll try to make a point to get out of my office during class change time, because you'll see the student, we have a sign outside, right down the road here with the map, and you'll see somebody looking at the map. Okay, what are you trying to find? You'll see, in order to try to, right, in Damien, not here, you'll see, what are you trying to find? Especially down city. Harborside, it's a little easier. What building are you trying to find? Okay,
right.
Go this way, go there, because we want to help you get there. And you see somebody with the JW name tag on around their neck, and ask them, how do I get to Johnson's Hall? How do I get to Xavier Hall? How do I get to the Academic Center? And we want to point you in the right direction. And
I think you're talking also about the Got Questions program that we run at the beginning of every year, and I'm sure we'll have some version of that this year. And people are very highly visible with these bright green shirts, so we'll help them get to where they need to be. And there was one question that related more to the city, Leroy. And I think you get this a lot year to year too, bad parts of Providence, or as far as students trying to understand the city a little bit. What advice do you have for that?
People can go on the City of Providence Police website and look at crime reports from around the city. But generally speaking, you're right down, Providence is an urban city. It's got the wealthiest of areas, and it's got the areas that are more, that are less wealthy, that are struggling. But, you stay downtown here, you stay on the Harborside campus, and you don't go too far from the Harborside campus. You stay around the down city here. Students love to go up towards Brown University, to go up to Thayer Street, to go up, where Brown and Rhode Island School of Design students are up at Thayer Street, and go, because it's a young person's area. Be careful, but there are other areas of the city that, I would certainly avoid. I would certainly, you go to Renaissance Hall near Federal Hill, you can be careful. But then there's other parts of the city heading west from where I am here at the headquarters. And once you get the other side of 95, I would be very careful entering certain parts of the city. But so don't venture out. Don't venture out to, you log on to, Redbox to go and get your nearest Redbox, and that one is only a mile away, but maybe you're better off going to the Redbox that's 2 miles away or in a different direction. Because just check with somebody before you venture off. Tell your student before you venture out to a certain area, you're going to check with somebody, because we'll ask you. You'll say, no, what neighborhood are you going to? No, maybe you're better off staying here, right on the core campus of Down City or Harborside. People do go up towards the Thayer Street area, Brown Rhode Island School of Design. We do have students that go to the Providence College area, but there are other areas of the city that, yes, you 1,000% should avoid.
Even the new pedestrian walk bridge over by the river is beautiful. There's so much to explore truly within walking distance. So hopefully everyone will kind of explore our area before they start to think about going further off campus. All right, well, I think
check with somebody before you go venture off campus. Just don't think that, okay, I'm big and bad, I'm young and I'm gonna go, I'm gonna be fine. Check with somebody, and I like Damien, I'm glad you're on this, because I see you're nodding your head. Just check with somebody and just make good choices, make a decision. You're in college now, you're 18 to 22-year-old, and or 17 to 22, 18, you're in college, and I get it, the idea of wanting to explore the city, but please make good choices, make good decisions. You go out with your friends, come back with your friends. Oh, don't leave somebody at a party with somebody they just met, or don't go to an event and say, oh, you're gonna get back, you're on your own getting back, we're leaving. Have a plan to go out together, get back together. My phone rings a lot, and I love it when it rings for good things, and I don't like it when it rings for bad things. So please take care of one another. One of your friends is in a bad way, done something that they shouldn't have done, and they're in a bad place. Help them get home. We have a call for help policy. If you call and get that person help, the sanctions are going to be none or really, really significantly minimized based on a call for help policy. So make that call, get them help, get them assistance. Don't have that in the back of your mind, woulda, coulda, shoulda, in the future when you could have helped somebody out, but you didn't. So please, and I can't stress that enough. My amnesia is not that bad. I got coached growing up when I was in high school and college and making good choices and what have you. But so don't do something now that can ruin your background in the future when you're going for a career, and don't do something now that gets one of your friends victimized. If you can get your friends help and get them a system and get them home safe, it's a plus in everybody's book. Just getting them back to campus safely. Experience comes from bad judgment. Good judgment comes from experience. So at least based on my experience, please just go out together, come back together, and make good choices.
Well,
And
I think
that's not enough.
those are excellent parting words from you, Director Rose. Damien, any last words for our families?
Just always encourage your students to make good decisions, especially like Leroy said, if you leave together, come back together. That's literally the #1 advice I could give anyone as well. And I also give to my students as well. So definitely make smart decisions, because smart decisions can save a life.
Excellent.
Oh, that's very well said.
And I see that Kara has put a couple of links in the chat to the Wildcat Welcome site, the safety and security page on the website. She's also got the Twitter handle there. So folks, feel free to follow those, reach out if you have additional questions. We've got one more to go with these next week. Res Life is back. So if you were with us in the second week, I think actually, when we did Res Life, you're still welcome to join again if you have new questions that have popped up. But again, residential life and off-campus student services for anybody who's a family of a commuter. Join us. We'll be here next Wednesday, same time, same place. So thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Damien. Thanks, folks, for joining us. Have a great night and a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe. Thank you.